I'm Andrew King, and we're going to spend some time drawing and talking about the Place de Montréalaises. We have a city that has a kind of historic structure. You know, Montreal is really a kind of gridded city. And then we usually have these parks. But Place de Montréalaises actually completely upends that. It completely says that we no longer have these little parks that tell us about our colonial heroes. What we have is this moment that defines itself in the city, that it redefines our history. The project is situated in a very, very complex place within the city. Hotel de Ville, or there's City Hall of Montreal, there's Place d'Armes, there's the Ville-Marie Expressway, which is this scar, and then there's the new CHUM and the CR CHUM. So it's the middle of Montreal in many ways. The Place de Montréalaises really does, from an urban point of view, is a physical link. It's a bridge, it's a passerelle across a major street. And on top of that, then it becomes this beautiful garden, which is made through a series of perforated small meadows. We called it 400 perforations. There's been less than that. And we've had lots of conversations in the studio about this very, very aggressive gesture. It does it as a very significant gesture. It says, this is the place for the women of Montreal. This is where it sits in front of City Hall. This is how it engages the Ville-Marie Expressway. You've got a movement through the site. You move up, you move across, you're engaging the whole site. So all of a sudden you're immersed in a garden that is maybe at body height. It's maybe, you know, when it's fully grown, it's going to be quite luxurious. A place where you can actually think. And in this case, in some degrees, if you want to, think about the builders of Montreal, specifically the women builders of Montreal, the women who helped frame the future of the city. Then within this, there's a gradin, place where you can stop and you have some respite. But on those stairs, Angela Silver's strategy around the text, the names of the women are embedded on those stairs, and you see fragments of people's names, but you see that text work is related then to this object. Angela Silver's art has taken the names of the women and mapped them out. So you've got a 4-meter high by 22-meter wide mirror that has these perforations in it, spell out the names of the people, of the women who are being recognized in Place de Montréalaises. That's the metro station. There was this sort of emptiness. This is the Ville-Marie void. This is Champ-de-Mars, and this is the City Hall. We realized, and it was Alexis Légaré that made this beautiful drawing. He said, it's a line from there to there. So all of a sudden, you're not at the ground plane. You're not really that worried about the highway below where the trucks and the cars are. What you're trying to do is create a kind of visceral, haptic, experiential link between here and here. And what it really became from an architectural point of view is became the opportunity to hold this up. So there's a beautiful sort of column element that we developed, that Jeff Ma spent months sort of developing this beautiful shape. So the project not only tries to give back if you're an observer and you're coming out of the metro station and you decide you need to walk to City Hall and you walk up the bridge, it gives back to the people who are engaging the project from underneath. And usually in a project, you've got 2 or 3 danger zones. You say, well, there's going to be a problem in this corner because of the condition of the land, or there's going to be a problem here because of something. But for PDM, the red zone was here. There was technical issues, very, very complex technical engineering issues all through this project because we had to deal with the metro tunnel. We had to deal with the Ville-Marie. We had very different soil conditions here than we had here. So the fact that we had such a strong technical team with SNC, with Elema, and the fact that we could make this great gesture and deal with all those red zones that are kind of, you know, lurking under the ground all across the site was absolutely fascinating. If there's a diagram that talks about the pain that our team has had to deal with in many ways, it's the diagram of the red zones. I mean, projects die all the time in architecture, right? You start something and you don't finish it. Yeah, so you're scared, but if you're not scared, as my father used to say, if he was a horseman, and he said, if you don't fall off every couple of weeks, then you're not trying hard enough, right? So if you're not challenging yourself, if you're not scared when you actually sit down and say, how are we gonna do this, then it's a little boring, no, I think? It's Montreal at its best. It's Montreal when it's inclusive. It's Montreal when it's cosmopolitan. It's Montreal when it's looking beyond itself. And it's a Montreal that says, in the next 50 years, we're going to be a cosmopolitan, inclusive city, it's about time that we as architects, we're reconfiguring the history of the city.